What's up, boys? Welcome to my new fresh YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna do a guide for you guys on TvP on one of the best standard builds right now. So first I'm gonna show you a game against the AI where obviously I got destroyed, but well, it's a good lesson for all of us, you know. And then afterwards I'm gonna show you a replay where I beat a pro player with the same build. And at the same time, I especially really want to go over a lot of the adaptations and stuff, because I feel like a lot of time when there's a builder, the guide is just super strict, you know, tells you to execute it in this way. But I actually want to tell you guys how to change the builder and adapt a bit depending on what you scout. So the build I'm going to show you guys is, you probably saw it a bit if you have been watching on my stream. It's also pretty popular in Korean TvP right now. I've seen innovation do it first, but when I said that on my stream, obviously there was the one guy in my chat that was like, no, actually it's Maru's build. So I guess Maru did it as well. And I also saw TY do it a couple of days ago in GSL, I believe. So I haven't seen other Europeans do it yet though. But anyway, I'm gonna show you guys the mine drop tank push liberator build. So basically, you're gonna set yourself up for a triple prong attack. That probably sounds more difficult than it is. This attack is pretty shift clickable. So anyway, you start with a barracks first, barracks gas, Reaper expand. Here I tried to pretend that I was playing a real player by sending my SCV to attack the probe. In the next replay I show you, you'll see I'll actually get harassed by a probe a bit, I think, so then you can see what it looks like. So yeah, obviously very standard opener, you all know how to do this stuff. I'm gonna play it very safely. I'm gonna play with the bunker. That's something you guys should take for other builders as well you do in TvP, because I feel like if you skip the bunker, at least the early bunker, it's so easy to die to like a core first, a depth chrono, or whatever protosses do these days. So this is actually bunker before gas. So the SCV that builds the second depot goes down to make the bunker, just so it's very safe. And then you add the gas afterwards. Scout with the Reaper. Now, in a few seconds, I feel like it's the first adaptation you can make. Or I have to say, yeah, I believe this is the first real adaptation you can make. On a map like this, obviously the AI didn't wall off, but on a map like this, you actually can't really scout sometimes, because this is pretty easy to wall off, and there's no other place to jump in with the Reaper. And if they do core first adapt, for example, you actually won't get to scout anything, and scouting the tech is quite important. So if you're on a map like this, or maybe in a worse scenario, you lose the Reaper to the first adept, something like this, I believe you should actually make a Hellion as first unit from the factory to scout. If you play, yeah, like I said, if you play on this map and the cliff is walled off, you can use the Reaper grenade plus the Hellion to get past the wall and get in, because scouting the tech is super important in TvP. If you play on another map, it doesn't matter which map it is, Eternal Empire, whatever, and you lose the Reaper, then your Hellion is actually your only way to scout. So in this game, I'm gonna go for a Widowmine drop, which I'm gonna do anyway, but if you open with the Hellion, it's just a one Widowmine drop. And normally, like this game, it's gonna be a double Widowmine drop. Obviously, always try to keep the Reaper alive if you can. You want to see, there's so many things you can scout actually in TvP. You want to see if the third goes down. Also, an important thing to notice is if he takes more gases before the third nexus, especially the fourth gas. So yeah, this build looks very similar against everything that's not a Stargate, which is you just make the medevac. If you see a Stargate, this is maybe a bit of a complicated adaptation. I'm gonna have to explain it a bit later in the build as well. But against a Stargate, the build works a bit differently. Like I said earlier, this is a triple prong attack build. So The setup you want in the end is to have the mine drop here, or maybe even here, and then the Liberator in the other place, and then the tank push hits at the front, right? But if you play against a Stargate, what actually can happen is they go for a bunch of Phoenixes, and in that case, it's better to do like a full-on frontal push, because harassment is, it's way too vulnerable. Like, you can try it, but it's very risky. It's probably gonna get picked off. So against a Stargate, you'll make a Viking here, and then it changes the dynamic of the push a little bit as well, but I'm gonna explain that later. So against Blink, Robo, DTs, Triple Nexus, anything else that's not a Stargate, this build just looks exactly the same. Very, very simple. Now, after the second Widow Mine, you're gonna get a Tech Lab. You don't have to add these gases at all. You just keep making depots and everything. You don't need to think about much else. Obviously, the Reaper's still alive because the AI's micro is not that fantastic, to say the least. Second medevac goes out. And this is also important. This is actually what I messed up the first time I did this build, is that you get a tank before the Liberator. Because you have so much gas, you have like, I don't know, 225 gas, something like that. I was very tempted to make the Liberator first, and I did the push with one tank. It also worked, but it's not the way it's supposed to go, really. Okay. Now, this is also an important moment. If you do the Widow Mine drop, especially if it's Blink, you usually don't want to go in. You just want to AFK the medevac like right here to show him that you have a Widow Mine drop there. And then the Protoss will always be forced to keep like somewhere between 2 and 4 Stalkers usually around here. And that is really all you need to do. Because if they play Blink Stalkers, the last thing you want is for... even if this one kills 5 probes, let's say you drop it, it kills 5 probes. If they play Blink, it's not enough, because... or well, that's not how I should word it. I think it's good, but the push is going to be weak, because all the Blink Stalkers are going to be able to go to the front, and they can just kite your Marines, and there's not much you can do about it. Most of the time you just have to stay home. So if it's Blink, usually you don't go in at all, unless you're really confident that he's just out of position. Like maybe you send your Reaper here and all the Stalkers are here. You can go in, sure. But most of the time you don't go in. If it's a Robo, it's actually more possible to go in, but really try to save at least one Widow Mine, because you really want to have the threat to be here, just so he can't send all of his units to the front. That's a very big thing here. So a lot of the time I actually do it like this. I drop one Widow Mine, I pick it up. If they, I don't know, if you're confident he's not looking, whatever, you can drop them both. Just really try to get him out, that's all. Also, one thing I have to mention is, if you're suspicious that it's DTs, the build still looks exactly the same. All you have to do is add an eBay. Let me just scroll back real quick so I can show you the correct timing. You add an eBay at about 4 minutes, and DTs will arrive before you have a turret, so you always need to keep a scan. This is a bit of a difficult part, but if you get it right, you're always going to be pretty far ahead against DTs. If you add an eBay too early, it's just too expensive. So you want to add an eBay about 4 minutes. And just keep one scan ready. Try to pay a bit of attention to the front and make a turret, and that's it. And the only thing that it delays is your third CC. So because this came, I wasn't suspicious of any DTs by the easy AI. So I was able to get my third base very fast. And this is also a thing I really like about this build, is that you have so much aggression, so much potential to do damage with the triple prong, but it's still very economic. So the moment you do even a little bit of damage, or the Protoss overreact, sometimes they'll try to hold on like 45 probes, you're just straight ahead economically. A lot of the time you can even be ahead if your push gets crushed. So yeah. Here, this is where the push starts. Second tank is almost done. Liberator comes out. And this is where you can decide to make it easy for yourself. If you think you don't have the APM to do the triple prong, you could, like, there's so many things you can do. You can shift click the Liberator into the main and just take the Widow Mines with your main army. And it's a really strong push. And this is also what I wanted to say against the Stargate. If you play against a Stargate, ideally you want all these units together. So instead of this medevac, you're going to have the Viking. And then you have the Viking Liberator, 2 mines tank, 15 marines, and you just push at the front. And it's very hard for Phoenixes to defend this kind of unit composition. So that's the difference between playing against Stargate and playing against other tech. But since I scouted a robo this game, bless the AI, we get to do this push normally. Liberator is shift click into the main. You always pull 4 SCVs. And this is what the follow-up looks like. Roughly around the time your second tank finishes, you add 2 barracks and 2 engineering bays. Yeah, I think I'm building right here. And then you get 2 gases going. And this moment really shows how strong this build is economically. I feel like normally Protoss is in like 54 probes at this point, and it's really hard to imagine not killing any probes with any of this, right? And you already have your third well underway. It's almost finished even. So like I said, even if you don't do a lot of damage, if the Protoss overreacts, you do a bit of damage, you're still in a really good spot. That's what I really like about this build. I feel like a lot of Terran builds are like kind of all-in-ish, like you have to do a lot of damage with them. But this build is, I don't know, it just, most of the time it feels really good. So yeah, this is what the push looks like. I have to admit, I didn't push in the best location because I didn't think the AI had the third base, but normally you try to go like in the side route, so you'll, you know, follow this path. You attack here so you can siege with the rocks, make bunkers. And once again, like I said, wait, did my Liberator die or is my Liberator? Okay, I was very blind. The Liberator sieges here, this usually takes like 3 Stalkers from the main army. This Widow Mine drop is gonna take a few units from the main army. And around this time, usually I feel like Protoss has like 10 Stalkers. So just imagine they have 3 Stalkers here, 3 Stalkers here. There's nothing really left to defend this push. I feel like it's really tough for them to defend everything perfectly. Sometimes they will all in on defending the push. They lose a lot of probes. It's just, I feel like this is a very hard push for Protoss to defend. And at the same time, like I said, our base looks super nice. We will be able to start 1-1 as we have the gas. Third is finished. Barracks are finished. And I'm going to be able to add my 4th and 5th barracks very soon. So yeah, this was the build against the AI. I think it looked pretty clean. The execution, this is about what it looks like in a normal game. Sometimes when I stress out a bit, I start banking money and stuff, but there's no reason to show that. Yeah, let's move on to the real replay. I'm not sure which one I picked. I was Hellraiser. Yeah, I had a few replays. I honestly spammed this build like every single game for like a week, so I actually have a ton of replays of me doing this. I'm gonna skip to the first part a little bit because you guys know what it looks like. Another point I have to add is that this build is better on some maps. Like this map is the perfect map because every base is vulnerable. The natural is obviously very vulnerable with all this airspace over here. Then the main, it's kind of deceiving because it looks like you can hit the top with like Stalkers, but I actually don't think you can, or maybe like barely. But it's actually very easy to access the main for anything. So Mind Job could go here, or the Lib could go there. I prefer to send the Liberator there. And then the third is also vulnerable. And this also exists on maps like, let's say, Eternal Empire. I believe every base of the first 3 bases is also very vulnerable there. Obviously, like Zen, you know, Golden Wall. There's actually a bunch of maps where this build is just super strong because of all the airspace. So yeah, you guys remember, Barracks first expand. Hellraiser's actually scouting with the probe, unlike the AI. Also, one little adaptation you can do here is that I don't know, whatever you guys are going to use this build for. Maybe you want a shit ton of MMR, or you're playing a tournament. If you don't see a probe, or the probe is late, or the Protoss you're playing is just cheesy, I would recommend SCV scouting with this SCV. So the way you do it, the moment this probe comes in, you always send a second SCV, whether it's the probe is to block your natural or just to harass your SCV. I feel like you always want a second one on it. And then the moment you pop down your command center, usually it's a bit later. He didn't try to delay it. Usually, maybe you drop it a few seconds later. As soon as the command center goes down, you will send the SCV you have left to scout. And it should be in time to tell you anything that's coming, really. Now we get the factory, the bunker before the gas. So it's actually bunker reactor. Actually, I made them at the same time this time. Usually you get the reactor first, I believe. Doesn't matter too much as long as you get the bunker before the gas. That's the most important, don't forget it. I don't want Terrans to die anymore to one adept, so please take care of it. And oh, actually, yeah, I didn't. That's actually interesting. So I didn't scout anything this game because, like I mentioned in the previous replay, they always wall this off. So I just walked up the main ramp and saw a stalker and left, and I didn't even pay attention to it. But this game I actually could have scouted. Okay, well, unlucky. Wonder if I'm gonna check it later. So anyway, going for that double mine drop. Usually, to be honest, this is not completely correct. This may be one of my judgment, but usually when I see a stalker, I tend to think it's not a Stargate. But this, you have to apply this to the own meta of your MMR and stuff. Like, when I saw the stalker, I kind of felt pretty safe not countering a Stargate, but it's actually very possible to go Stargate after Stalker. So you have to decide that for yourself. Once again, if you really want the sure scout, make the heli instead of the first mine. As you can see, just keeping my Reaper AFK here to see any ridiculously early thirds or whatnot. Gonna slow it down a bit here. Maybe we can wait for the mine drop. I don't think anything's happening for now. As you can see, this is the build. For me, on my MMR, this is the build that's the most standard. So I'm probably going to use the mine drop just like I said. I'm going to try to bait his stalkers. Now I confirm everything I see. And yeah, this is the basic setup. Let me slow it down a bit here. We have the 2 mines in the medevac, then we get the tank into the Liberator. Just to set us up for that triple prong. Everything going just as planned. I don't think there's too many things that can actually disturb the plan, to be honest, from Protoss. Unless it's a Stargate. Like, if they go for a blink attack, I'm pretty sure you should have tanks in time. So here you see, I'm using the mines just as I said. I really just want to keep them alive. So I'm picking them on one by one. His stalker's not in position. Being a bit annoying, of course. Of course I had to show off in my first video. Why not? You know, I don't watch too many replays of myself, so I enjoy seeing myself being annoying, to be honest. So yeah, this is where the attack starts. Liberator's not shift click yet. Maybe it's not a shift click kind of game. This is a bit risky, but I didn't see anything, so I'm trying to get away with it. I don't think I should have. So yeah, maybe be careful with this one. I think I should have lost it here, so that was a misplay by me. I think I'm also gonna make a few mistakes this game, but I feel like that's a good thing to show you guys, so you guys can see that even if you make, I don't know if it's a ton of mistakes, just a few mistakes, the build can still look super strong. So here comes the Liberator into the main, and now I'm gonna show you what I was talking about. The Stalkers are going there. Now he has 2 Stalkers here as well for the Widow Mine. And then at the same time, let's see how many units he has. He actually has 5 Stalkers and a Sentry. Literally every single of his units, besides maybe the Sentry, is defending the harassment, and this third is just gone. And like I said before, honestly, even if I failed this push, I would have still felt pretty confident. I think if you're even in workers with a Protoss, that's a good spot to be in for a Terran. Like, look at the economy already. Even workers, I have mules. My third is almost done. I got my triple barracks, my E-base. I feel like this setup is just super strong. Obviously, there's nothing he can do at this point to save his third. Charge is 70 seconds away. A bit less with Chrono, I guess. And I don't know, this pushes it so early and so strong. He didn't lose too many probes, he lost 4 probes. And just like that, I'm in an amazing spot. And this is the entire... This is the push, basically. I think this game is gonna go on a bit more. I'll probably just skip through it for you guys so you can see what it looks like. But yeah, this is the idea. I feel like... Obviously, I executed it well, but it's a basic push. I think it's very strong. Once again, you can make it as easy for yourself as you want. You don't have to triple prong. You can keep all your units together. And there's all the adaptations you can do against any kind of tech, I think. So that's what makes this such a strong build for me. It's economically very strong. As you can see, he's making his 3rd Nexus. He had absolutely no hope of defending it. And I'm already almost finishing my 5th barracks. 4th and 5th barracks. My double upgrades are coming. Stim combat shields. My economy is way better. I haven't even landed my 3rd yet. It's just a very strong builder. And actually, I believe in this game, I make some... I almost throw this game, I think. I make a lot of mistakes. And that's why I like to show this game to you guys. Because I want you guys to see that even if you make a bunch of mistakes. It's just... Like, I don't feel like I killed a lot, you know? As you can see, I lost more resources. I killed the 3rd. I didn't kill that much. But I'm so far ahead. So even if I'm gonna make some big mistakes, I'm just too far ahead to win. Let's see how it goes. I'm gonna do a push here. This push actually looks pretty good, I think. Not sure why it drags on for so long. So yeah, never forget to stop macroing. Obviously, from now on, if I would talk about this, the build orders I'm doing from now on, like the building choices, whatnot, it becomes more of a macro guide. I was more focused on the build order. You guys can see what I'm doing here. I think I was kind of trying to just finish him here. Obviously, I would recommend you guys to take it a bit more slow. Because, yeah, I'm kind of getting owned a bit here. This is the point where I'm like... I'm sure all of you had it at some point where you're like, oh shit. I thought I was just going to aim with him and then I died. But even at this point, this is what I want to show you guys. Like, that push was a disaster. But I'm still super far ahead. I have more SCVs and my 4th base is already halfway. And trust me, if you're ahead in bases against Protoss, that's a very good spot to be in. My 2-2 is almost done. And yeah, that's it pretty much. I think I'm gonna win this game with a simple drop in the end. I'll fast forward it once again so you guys can see that. I'm gonna do 1 drop in the main and then that's gonna be the end of the game. Just look at the economy once I land my 4th base. As you can see, this is all what I want to show you guys too, that even if it looks a bit dicey sometimes, I'm still just so far ahead. Like he will, either I have to mess up or he will have to do so many things right to get back into this game. Let's see. Yeah, this is the game ending move. I do 1 double drop or a triple drop even. Oh yeah, once again, just 1 rule for me. I really hate Protoss armies, so if I can avoid them, I will. So here we go. 1 distraction drop into the main. Attack at the front. And that's gonna be it. This is really awkward for Protoss as well with the Colossus. Yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. So, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the build. I think it's a super good build, super standard build. I feel like you can use it on almost every map. If there's some maps I wouldn't recommend it on, it's maybe Simulacrum. Maybe Purity on Industry. It's just kind of weird. I don't think builders exist on that map. But anyway, I think it's really good on most maps. I hope you guys really enjoyed this guide as well. Let me know if you have success with this guide. And please... like the video, subscribe and stuff. I'm new to this, but I think that's what it is. You like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, and especially let me know what kind of stuff you want to see more on the channel. This is my first guide. I'm definitely gonna do some more. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.